Hello and welcome to another episode of Legal Curiosity. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. So earlier I promised to give you a magic wand with which you can predict the future. Now let me tell you, I'm a legal person and I'm not a magician like PC Sarkar. So I'm going to tell you something with which you can make an educated guess, and that will be as opposed to something like making a regular guess with no credibility. So, if you had to choose between being the most intelligent person in the world or the most aware person in the world, what would you choose? I'll not be surprised if you choose to become the most intelligent person in the world, but let me introduce you to the power of being aware. We live in a world that is based on technology, wealth, and entrepreneurship. You have to be smart to succeed in those areas. And if you feel you are only average in intelligence, you'd also be not expecting enormous success. However, the argument for being more aware is very rarely made. Yet, by far, choosing to be aware is the most better option that a person can have. And unlike IQ, you can increase your awareness quite easily. There are certain things which are inherent, there are certain things which if you work hard you can get it, and then there is awareness. This is a personal choice, and even if you feel you are the dumbest person in the world, you can still choose to remain aware of the things happening around you. Now let's directly jump into our topic: how to predict the future. Well, all the answers are always around us, we just don't see it. There are some who see things differently and they reap the benefits out of it. But let me tell you, they are not special in any way. They are just more aware than you are. Now, let's know what kind of future do we want to see. I personally want to see how the world changes technologically. Why technology? Why is technology so important to us? Because slowly but steadily, technology is directly or indirectly controlling humans. It's controlling us. This interaction between us is a result of a technology. Now, when I was a teenager, I could never dream that a few years down the lane, I would actually be sleeping on my bed holding a phone which works when I touch it, and I'll order something and a person will deliver it to my home at such a low cost. Now, these things were not imaginable. Like, our parents, when they were in their teenage days, would have never imagined they could actually use a device which is the size of a palm and do so many things at their fingertips, like listening to songs or video calling someone at the other end of the globe. So this explains why is technology changing lives. How is it changing lives? Now let me tell you an interesting story. Are you familiar with UAVs? Unmanned aerial vehicle? The defense industry has been using it intensively. Even the drone cameras that we see around these days are all byproducts of this invention. What if I told you this was invented way back in 1962? A man named Edward Vanderlip, an engineer for an aircraft corporation, had patented this in 1962. Amazing, isn't it? I'm sure my grandpa would have loved to see one of those flying in his eyes. But this invention was far ahead of its time. So what's gone is gone. Let's see how we can predict future, what we can expect in our near future. To predict our own future, we need to follow the intellectual property filings in different countries. Now, how will this help you predict the future? Let's see. In 2019, IBM was granted a patent for brain signal device authentication system. It claims a computer implemented authentication method by decoding brain activity into a brain pattern sequence as an entry for password into a locked device. So basically what this invention is, like we have face unlock or fingerprint scanner or iris scanner to unlock our phones, or for that matter any electronic device. IBM is making a technology to do that unlocking using your brain sequence, using brain pattern sequence. Amazing. Now, since IBM has actually got a patent, which is a costly affair, they would have only invested so much in acquiring a patent only if they knew they would succeed. So from today itself, we can expect that the day is not far when the fingerprint sensors will be replaced by brain pattern sequences. Now let me tell you, the Samsung, Xiaomi, OnePlus and all those smartphone brands, they'll have their own share of profits. There's no doubt in it. But just imagine the business model of IBM, what it will be dealing with. Its technology will be in each and every smartphone brand's phones, in each and every laptops, or for that matter any electronic device. Now IBM has started doing something, and we do not know, maybe some other company is working on something on a different technology. So that is why you need to understand, you need to be aware of the technological changes so that you know what is going to come next. So now let's see how else do things help when you are aware of IP or intellectual property. Let's say you are a businessman or you want to be a businessman, so you actually will be the first ones to know about new inventions if you remain aware. Now if any particular invention that you read about, you find it to be worthy, you can start your own business with it. For example, let's say there's a company who patented a battery that is made of something other than lithium ion or lithium polymer. These two are the batteries which are used in our smartphones or laptops or in many other products. And this new battery that is patented is cheaper to produce or has some other qualities. So whatever that can be. So you can actually approach the inventor and start a business by being its marketing person or take a license agreement, or you can just be his partner in his journey and be an investor. Big companies follow these news, these trends, they follow these smaller companies, they follow these inventions and acquire great technologies at very low costs. There are countless options, and I just mentioned a couple. Like this is a full-time job to get updated, to know, to be aware. Like we apply for many jobs, we open a newspaper and see the advertisements that has been present out there. So similarly, we just give full-time effort to the news of IP and understanding it and how you can convert it. So you need to understand one thing. You cannot just open a restaurant or a petrol pump or a liquor shop and make a business. I know these are the common things that come to a mind of young people when they think of business. But understand this, the world is changing, and if you want to earn from this change, you have to be an agent of that change, and for that you need to understand technology or the business around it, and do business related to it in future, because technology is going to be so much bigger than it is today. So before we reach there, when it becomes so much bigger, be a part of it. Predict the future by just reading about IP inventions. It's just as simple as that. Today we use technology in our smartphones, in our laptops. Now in the future, that will be not limited to only our smartphones or laptops. We'll have those in our cars, in our home, at our village. Wherever you go, you'll find technology. So that is the bigger picture here. Why you need to understand that why is technology the next big thing, and intellectual properties are a way to achieve that. So there are other advantages of remaining aware of IP. If you are an investor and you can know which company will be performing well in the future. Like for example, every investor in the world thinks Tesla will be the next big thing in the automobile industry. I'm not denying it will not be, but certainly not so much that the hype it has maintained. To give you some insights, let me tell you, Ford and General Motors, they have the highest number of patents for connected cars. Connected cars is what we commonly say self-drive cars. You and me both know the self-driving cars is the next big thing in the automobile industry. What Tesla is mainly working is making self-drive cars. What advantage they have is that their battery. But a battery is one of the important things that will be in a car, but that is not the only thing. They might have a good technology, but to stay at par with their competitors, they need that technology. When another company already has that technology, it's not always viable to create that technology of their own. You license their technology. So Ford and General Motors will be at an advantage point at this point of time. They do not need to invest in battery because Tesla has already have it. So Tesla will be dealing with batteries at a certain point of time, and Ford and General Motors will be dealing with the technology part. So they have a better future over there. So that's the thing you need to understand, that invest in those companies that are taking intellectual properties or patents for the inventions for tomorrow. This was just an illustration, but the underlying concepts are the same for any industry. Invest in those companies today who are acquiring patents for tomorrow. So let me give you some numbers from India. In the financial year 2018-19, 15,000 patents were granted in India alone out of a total of 28,500 applications. Now this is a huge number for a country like India. I was ashamed not to know this fact prior to making this video. So here is the gap between us and the companies. They know where to invest. This is an example, this is a proof why we should understand that India will be doing great in the future, because they are Indians are inventing new products, they are inventing new technologies. So here is where the future lies. But India is not in the top 10 patents granted, but we are actually growing. We were lagging very far behind than the developed countries. Now we are catching up with them. So this is a good sign for us. So out of these filings that I mentioned, 28,000, most of them were from firms, or what we say companies. 23,000 of them were from companies. Individuals filed 2,600 patents, and government and hospitals and research institutes combinedly contributed to 300 of those applications. So the research areas where you should know, where is India researching? Out of these, 10,000 of these applications were from electrical engineering. The other 10,000 were from chemistry related inventions. 6,000 were from mechanical engineering. 5,000 of them were from instruments, and 1,500 from all other parts. So just don't stay updated, stay ahead. For your reference, there are a ton of sites where you can follow this. For starters, you can just Google patents granted in 2019 or the most notable patents granted recently. You can get many sources where you will get the data. I personally prefer to follow Reuters. For more authenticity and more details, you can directly go to ipindia.nic.in for IPs granted in India, or if you are interested in the IP grants in US, you can go to their official government website, that is uspto.gov. Tell me in comments what you feel about my advice, and if you also have any query about the things I discussed, feel free to comment below. Thank you.